Welcome to Engaging Kitsap, a positive local forum where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into our BCAT studio. Today we welcome Sue Corey and Renee Overrath from the Paul Linder Educational Foundation. Sue is their president and Renee the vice president for gifts. Since 1986 and to this day, the Paul Linder Educational Foundation's mission has been to promote educational excellence in the Central Kitsap School District by awarding academic grants to staff and students. Welcome. Sue, tell us about the needs of the Central Kitsap School District and why the 501c3 charity was founded.
Okay. Well, Central Kitsap does a great job of educating our students, but budgets only stretch so far. And so teachers have had to spend their own money to purchase the extra materials and learning equipment and things like that for their students. And so the foundation, one of the reasons it was formed was to kind of help take that burden off the teachers by awarding grants so they could purchase those extra learning materials. As a board member, you get to find out what the different needs of the district are, what the different needs of the staff. And it's been interesting to see how that has changed over the years. And we also have students will write grants. And recently we awarded some third graders funds to purchase career kits. And they wanted to study veterinary medicine and engineering. So that we really enjoyed being able to fund that project.
I bet. Well, Renee, I know you were a dear friend of the founder. Can you tell us about the woman that started this organization more than 30 years ago?
Sure. Natalie Bryson was our founder. She created the foundation in 1986, and it was incorporated in 1987. Natalie was very active in the community, and she won many awards. Not that she was trying for them, but she just was very active. And there's so many, I have to read a few of them.
Okay.
She was a woman of achievement through the YWCA. She was named Community Treasure by the Pride Foundation. She received the Silver Rose from the Kitsap Mental Health. She got the Certificate of Merit from the Washington Association of School Administrators, a Lifetime Achievement Award, and she was really proud of this one, from the Kitsap Council for Human Rights. Natalie served on the CK Community Council. She was a Silverdale Chamber member for 50 years or more. She was one of the first female Rotarians in the country.
Interesting.
And she connected people and organizations, and it was through her organization in Rotary that she was able to have third graders, each of them received a dictionary, and all of the classroom maps were updated through her connections with Rotary.
Oh, how fun.
Anyway, she knew that creating a local nonprofit where people could receive a tax-deductible benefit would be especially aimed at educational excellence. She knew that educational excellence, especially through the CK schools, benefits everyone in the community. And she used to say, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with that, too. So then who was Paul Linder?
Oh, Paul Linder was a teacher in Central Kitsap and a coach of basketball and baseball. He started in 1947 in the school district, and he worked there for 31 years. When he retired, he became president of the Silverdale Chamber, now known as the Greater Kitsap Chamber of Commerce. And the foundation was established to honor his service and his memory in the community.
Well, that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Well, so I understand that more than $500,000 in these Linder educational grants or Linder academic grants have been awarded. That's pretty amazing. Give us some examples of some of those grants and how teachers and students have benefited from them.
Just to highlight a few, noise canceling headphones that help particular students learn better. We've also funded outdoor education.
Some students, in order to learn, need to move.
Right.
And so we've bought some wiggle equipment, wiggle chairs and
balance balls,
Right.
and they call them fidget manipulatives, so kids that need to be moving and things like that. So,
Early in the development of the foundation, we purchased stream monitoring equipment. This was really, this is like in the 80s for stream monitoring for students at, I think that was at Olympic High School. That was a great grant, and it was early in the environmental education time. John Day, I think, was the one who started that project. We also, this year, something different, we funded the purchase of disc golf equipment for one of the elementary schools, and which is great because we like the idea of students being physically active, and then the students can take that equipment and their knowledge and teach it to their families. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool. I think that, so it sounds like some of these things are things that would never even occur to you unless a student actually asks for them. And so it's nice that you have that process where individuals can really say what's needed, and then you can go, aha, okay, that makes sense.
yeah. And one program that is near and dear to my heart is the outdoor education program. And when I was principal, each year we would sort of discuss, is it worth the time away from the classroom, the money that we have to raise to send kids to camp? But when I would be out at camp with my students, I would see students that experience difficulty maybe back in the classroom, either behaviorally or academically, and then out at camp they just blossomed. And so that just reinforced how important outdoor education is.
Well, I know how much I appreciate the outdoors, so I'm sure students do as well. A question about COVID and the restrictions that we had for 2.5 years and how that meant that students couldn't actually be in the classroom. How did your organization respond to that?
Well, we kind of pivoted our focus, and we supported a local program called Backpack for Kids, and it's an amazing program. And so we gave quite a bit of financial support to that program, and it allows students and their families to have food over the weekend when the meals at school, aren't being provided. And we also, at the beginning of when schools first closed down, there was some staff in CK that were furloughed, and so we helped to support those staff members.
Oh, that's nice. I'm sure that was really appreciated.
It was greatly
very much
appreciated.
needed. How about your fundraising? What kind of fundraising do you guys do?
Well, we have our annual Paul's Bowl at All Star Lanes. We also participate in the Great Give. We have some staff members in CK that contribute through the payroll deduction program, and we do a yearly letter asking for financial support.
Early in the foundation, we had a lot of different ways that we raised funds. One of them was with the Trident Triple. That was a bike ride that went all around the Bangor base, and it was so popular. But then 9/11 happened, and security for the country closed the base down. We also used to do a putt for education with a little portable putting green. And one year, Arthur Duncan, who was the tap dancer on the Lawrence Welk show, came to Central Kitsap. He went to Kalahauya, and he did a performance for us. Arthur was a friend of Natalie's.
Okay.
And so we've had lots of different projects that we've worked on, and it just depends on who's on the board and what creative juices they've got for a fundraiser.
Well, that does sound really creative, and I can hear the passion that you guys have for this. So tell us about your backgrounds and what draws you to this important volunteer work.
Well, I spent 37 years in K-12 education in Washington, and 35 of those years were in Central Kitsap. So Central Kitsap is near and dear to my heart. And I also, as a principal, I saw the positive impact that the teachers that were awarded the grants, how that was a positive impact in their classrooms.
How about you?
Well, I also spent 37 years in public education, and very early in my career, I was a school secretary. I think now they're called office managers. And I did that work for 7 years. I loved that job. And every summer, we would get what's called the KCDA order, which is all the supplies that the teachers need. And my children and I would deliver get the supplies in and deliver them to the classrooms. And I noticed that on most of the teachers' desks, there would be these bags and boxes of all sorts of very creative supplies for learning. And I realized that the teachers were buying these with their own money. And it occurred to me that no one really knew how much of a personal investment teachers make in their classrooms and in their students. And I thought, this work helps me to write that a little bit.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so 37. What else is 37?
The foundation.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
This is our 37th year,
right.
established in 1986 and incorporated in 1987. So 37 is our magic number today.
It is the magic number. That's great. Well, given the experience and the knowledge that you guys have for the many years of doing this here locally, you're the right people to ask, I think. What do you guys see in terms of the needs for the schools in the near term and in the future?
Well, technology has certainly come into play in the classroom, and that's all good and well. And one of the things that we have observed is that after COVID, after the students have experienced this isolation from COVID, we are seeing an increase in requests for social emotional support materials. And so we have funded those.
Can you give me an example of that?
Of the social emotional materials that we've purchased. There are cards that our teachers and our learning specialists use. Students can look at the cards and talk about their feelings from looking at the picture. We've also purchased some playground equipment and games to help children play together in a harmonious way. And some of the fidget materials that Sue was talking about earlier, that's a form of self-calming.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love those ideas. I wanted to ask, finally, about how our viewers might learn about the process for applying for these grants and also where they can learn more information about the great work you guys do.
Well, in October, for staff and students in our school district, we send out a request for proposals for the grants. So they're delivered into the schools directly. And then in December, our board meets, and that's the best meeting of the year because we get to look at all the proposals and decide who's going to get the grant money. And
I bet it's hard to pick.
Well, it is. And what makes it even more difficult is the fact that we can usually provide about $25,000 to $30,000, and this year we had over $60,000 in requests.
Wow.
So that makes it difficult, but it still is very rewarding, and staff are so appreciative.
I bet they are. I bet they are. So the Paul Linder Educational Foundation has a website, I imagine?
we do.
And what information can people find there? Your upcoming fundraisers, how to apply for grants?
They can see some photographs of the grants at work with our students and staff. Those are always fun to look at and remember. And
I imagine that as a nonprofit, most nonprofits are in a regular process of recruiting people to participate, volunteers, board members. Are you looking for people to do that right now?
We always would love to have more board members. We have a really great small group, and so it would be nice to be able to add a few more board members.
And if people want to apply to be a board member, they can send a message to us by email, and our email address is probably up on the screen now, so people can see where to email us.
And that's great. Anything else that you want to say about the foundation and what people can find on your website?
Well, I just look forward to many more years of being able to, help support staff and students in Central Kitsap School District.
Well, that's great. It's been really fun to talk to you both. It's clear that your organization and you both are making a big difference in the community. So I want to wish you the best of luck on the great work that you're doing on behalf of teachers and students in Central Kitsap.
Thanks, Colleen.
You've been watching Engaging Kitsap, where we bring engaging people, ideas, and organizations into the Kitsap studio. We'll see you next time.